and I'm the director and founder of Haven for Artists. Well, I'm originally Lebanese, but I was raised in California until the age of 16. Yeah, I came back right for the war. So I had never experienced anything like that, and suddenly I'm like, yeah, I come back to my home country, and then boom. I'm like, okay, this is my home country.
My father hasn't forgiven me for leaving, while my mother always knew I could never have stayed. At a time of roadblocks and handicapped ambitions, my lust nonetheless is enduring. My aspirations have had no such luck. You see, if I had a gun, it would have already went off. So who am I to change the world?
Whether I like it or not, whether it be in Lebanon or in the States or in Europe, there's a monopoly to the art world. And it's always established, financially capable, a little bit more privileged, whatever these elements are. That was my struggle originally. It was getting over the fact that I didn't have it as good. I really didn't have ambitions past the necessary at that point. Haven was founded in 2011, so in 2010, 2009, I spent most of my time dividing myself between different artists that I knew and their shows. Haram, you get to see all these beautiful musicians, and most of their responses, oh, well, if I don't do an Amy Winehouse cover, I'm not gonna get paid tonight. So that means he never gets to perform his originals.
She's the queen of hearts. She laid her curse on me. She's the raider of my nights, extorting my memories. And one by one, we all know we're gonna fall.
That was mainly my push, was to bring all these artists together and to make it accessible. Haven's rule is to never go over $10. So we started underneath a staircase in Pasteur. It was called Crew Bar, and it fit 35 people. And that was all that could come anyway. Like, nobody knew that we were. So 35 people was just me and a bunch of artists bringing our friends, and we performed under a very, very small staircase. A staircase that is the size of the staircase in our office now. So I think that's always like a beautiful thing of how you can grow. After the first couple that we got like a large amount of artists getting involved, the audience started growing, the location needed to be bigger, the stage needed to be bigger, the mixer no longer fit all the different musical instruments we had, so we needed to go bigger. We went to Hamra, to a place named Mojo, and it had a stage, and it was the first time that we had stage. It was originally just me organizing things, and I was just like, yeah, let's do a party. And then suddenly, Joan Aziz and Cynthia and Alia and Thea and all of these founders started joining Haven. And then suddenly we became more and more people, and then we got more and more departments, and then we started branching out.
My main function with Haven is basically to protect Haven's interests. So everything relating to any official documentation, any memorandums of understanding between partners, and learning to be able to manage it in a sustainable manner, which is quite difficult because neither of us really have the educational background to run an organization. But I think that's what also makes it interesting. I came on board with Haven in 2012. And I directly jumped on board as a talent scout. The young talent, the established talent, even enthusiasts, people who just want to be around the arts. And it was really fun. And I think this is what kept us going, is the fact that we really enjoyed doing what we did. And we didn't do it because we felt we had to, but because we really wanted to do it.
The end result was never, hey, we want to make money, or hey, it was always, I really want to see Tina perform. I really want to bring Mazen Zahreddin. I really want to hang out with Hadid. I really want the scallywags. You know, it became that, and it just became a massive hangout of artists.
They're going to come to Haven, and Haven is going to do whatever they can to provide artists and enthusiasts with what they require to get a creative project going. Haven is completely self-funded, so whenever we have a project going on and we need money to make it happen, we just throw a party or we host a concert, and then we use the money that we make out of that to finance the project that we want to produce.
And it inherently became very self-sustainable because everyone that got involved in Haven got involved on this soul level of necessity and desire. So it was really easy to just keep developing Haven because it developed on its own, and it was actually up to us to keep up with the speed that Haven was going at rather than us speeding Haven up itself. So this desire has become like pretty much the umbrella that shelters us all. And we have a beautiful creative department. Like it's such a wonderful team. We just sit and we brainstorm and we come up with great ideas, and then we throw parties to cover whatever we need to cover so that we can always offer people what we offer.
There is so much potential in Lebanon and in neighboring countries that is so untapped, that once given proper guidance and proper resources, is able to create things that will blow audiences' minds.
Shortly after I arrived to Beirut, I have had the chance to meet Dana. She actually got really intrigued by the sketches she saw in my sketchbook, and she really wanted me to be part of the event she was having, or they were having in Haven, in Art Lounge. She wanted to give me a push towards exposing my painting skills because she understood from me that I never really had the courage to do so. So her offer was to actually not just exhibit the paintings, is to also print them and sell them within the event, not for the sake of the profit, because we're gonna sell them in minimum price. It's not about that. It's for her to prove me that there is no need for me to have all these concerns and overthink how people would react and society would react, and to show me no, it's possible. Look, people loved your work, and all of the printed copies of your paintings has been gone. And that was the first move Dana did to push me into like exploring my options in artistic fields without fearing. And since then I have been exhibiting in every event that Haven has non-stop.
The biggest milestone?
Yeah.
Amshit. A current wave of nectar was a new phase for us. Because I had just come back from Berlin, I had planned to move there, and then that didn't pan out. So I went up to Amshit, and one day we were eating in the middle of the night and fire and then we looked at each other and we're like, it'd be wonderful to have a festival here. Within a week, the whole team had hit the ground running. Amshit to me was a slap in the face, realized what the potential of Haven is, realized the potential of the artists and the collaborations that are in this community, and I realized that art would save me. That wave of happiness that hit me, that kind of like all the anger, all the depression, everything dissipated. It didn't dissipate because, oh my God, I did a festival. It dissipated because I was surrounded by so many magnificent people that it was hard not to feel the beauty of it. It was difficult not to fall in love with Sandy at 4 a.m. as she painted the caravan. It was difficult not to fall in love with Khaled as he built the stage. You couldn't be depressed anymore because really, it was so simple to give people paint. to see a moment of fulfillment, even though you can't attend the event. And really, I'm using Sandy as an example because she couldn't attend the event. She came up just to paint the mural and leave. And for her, at least for me, seeing her come up and just do this mural, and she's like, I have work, I have so much work, but I have to go, but I can't miss this. That showed me exactly what we were lacking, which is canvases all over the fucking country, which is access to do these things, and all we need is a little bit of paint and a lot of love. And being that we had both, why would we stop there? Amshik was the moment we realized that Khalid's stage was destroyed within a month. Her painting was gone within 3 when they destroyed all the caravans and made a fucking swimming pool. It was that moment of realization that art may not be valued across the board equally as much as it is valued to us. So we needed a place that can hold our ideas, our concepts, our ideologies, without spitting it out when it no longer could hold.
And then we meet Yasmin.
In the beginning, 2 years ago, I was just a fan on Facebook. I used to love the things that they shared, and I didn't live in Beirut, so I couldn't really attend the events.
And she was very curious about Haven. You know, she came up to Haven with a drive and a passion that we hadn't seen in a while.
After I met the Haven family, I asked if there is a base, and apparently this is a thought that was already recurrent to all the Haven team members, because Haven was basically the Facebook page where they share information and cultural artwork all the time, and there was the events. We had the exhibitions, festivals, concerts, but there was no base for Haven.
Everyone's just very excited, so we decide to take the house with literally no funds at all.
And this was the start of the Haven House. We gathered all the artists from painters, carpenters, everything really, and we built it by hand. Everything was built by hand. It was a beautiful experience. Everyone expressed their love through each piece.
And in a month, produced couches, tables, a huge light piece, like things you wouldn't even imagine could come up in such a small time frame.
The Haven House opened before the actual official opening, because right when we said that we rented the place, people started to gather there and everyone put a hand in it.
And slowly we started to bring in partners. Things started to work out. People started to know about us. We found someone who would get us books if we ordered them, and then we can sell them from the house. So from there also we created our own library.
So you enter the house and you see the artwork, the library, you see the contribution in the furniture, in the building of the house from each member of the family.
As we started to grow within the house, this house became a sort of informal educational platform. It hosted free poetry workshops, sculpting workshops. We had a book club at some point. So everything that has to do with culture, we said yes to.
You say, I want to do a workshop of photography, you are more than welcome to come to Haven, and you will have a nurturing place that will actually give you the chance to do it and support you through it.
Because we wanted to give the community easy access to good art at the end of the day.
I might even go cherry tomatoes. With a sledgehammer. I just want to feel like that. Yeah. So just one. I just feel so strong. I'm like a boy. It's kind of fun. Yeah, I think it's going to sound.
Something like that.
But yeah. So what if you dash one vegetable?
Yeah.
No. Tomatoes are fruit.
That looked cool.
No. The saying is, intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, and wisdom is knowing not to put it in a fruit salad.
It was a pressing need because the community grew. It was never us jumping ahead and saying, oh, we're going to get this, and then the community is going to come. The community was there. And our job was to just facilitate whatever the community needed. The community needed a hangout space and an art house and screenings every Sunday and more information, more workshops, so we did that. Now the community needs bigger space because there are more artists, there's international, there's local. We need a gallery room, so we moved to a bigger space. We will be calling it 2092, and that's our registration number. After 6 years of attempting to register Haven, we've had a lot of issues, whether it be bureaucratic or financial, throughout the years, and then finally we got through it, that final hurdle, and then we got our number, and our number is 2092.
Right now we have a cafe and a workspace, a gallery room, and a floor for residencies.
This house really gave us something that we felt was concrete and made us want to push harder, work harder to achieve greater things.
And this is what led us to eventually think big and do Radical.
Which was an exhibition that we did in the French Institute. We used the fact that we were in the French Institute to do Radical because this is where we can actually push the boundaries and have no censorship for our work.
It actually portrays my evolution through Haven and the evolution of Haven.
Radical choice and consequence. It was mainly, at least for me personally, doing Radical was as a form to show that there is no restrictions as much as we'd like to pretend there is. Where there's a will, there's a way, as they say. And we really have a flagrant amount of will to change the perspective of the world and how people might view particular art forms or different artists or gender or sexuality or self-annihilation or identity. All of these topics, yes, they're hard to touch. Now imagine them all in one place.
It included a drag show, which you don't really find in Lebanon. But we used the fact that the French Institute didn't abide by censorship laws, because it's technically French land. So we used this to be able to give queers a voice and a stage. We also hosted screenings from the community's directors, and these are short films that hadn't been screened publicly before because they tackled issues that were sensitive and or censored locally. I think the ultimate point of this year is to establish a proper exchange.
Radical it was the first time we brought international artists to be in the expo. So we brought two international, one performance artist from Belgium, originally she's from Iran, and another artist from the UK, Berlin, and she's originally from Bangladesh.
We're trying as much as possible to work with administrators now to try and ease regional artists into international residencies while they send us their local residents as well.
Well, the international residency program is now, we're partners with Polytechnic in Leipzig, and we're also partners with Convent Zero in Barcelona. And what happens is throughout the year, we accept 12 artists to come in, so 4 artists for 3 months each. And they come into to the Haven House and they create their own expo and they work with us. The last 3 that came in, which were Renou, Sachli, and Paul, all exhibited in Radical, and they all performed in Radical. And hopefully, with the new gallery space, every single visual artist that Haven has and every single musical kind of musician or any art form at all has a space to be exhibited, to be displayed, to have a concert, to do what we need to do.
good thing about being in Haven is that you really are pushed to do more stuff. So yes, I've been working on my art and I've been studying also film. I mean, I've always taken pictures, but not in the same way. It's different when I met Dana and Yasmin and all the Haven team. Before I was taking pictures of things I liked all the time, basically. And with them, they taught me that how to make a concept and have an idea and become like, it's more than taking pictures, you know?
I've been here in Lebanon since September 2017 and had met with various tattoo artists and found that the tattoo scene here is really like one singular person tattooing in their own studio. I was looking forward to finding a studio where multiple artists were in there and hadn't found it yet. And I found Haven very randomly, actually. I showed them my work and they got so excited, and I could see that all of these girls had amazing tattoos and were really, really interesting. And so it was Dana herself who said, you know, she explained the residency program to me. And she was the one that suggested that I move into Haven. And I really like the way that it's done because it can either be an artist coming to Haven and saying, oh, I've heard about you, I really like what you do, I would like to be a part of this program, or like me, I just kind of stumbled upon it, or the people from Haven will seek out artists, interesting artists that do cool things.
At the end of the day, this is what shows the people, it shows the artists that we're all one people, really, and art is a kind of a peaceful way to share ideas and thoughts and profound emotions, and it goes through all cultures and all languages.
The Haveners, we really are a community. We rely on each other. You know, like if you're in the same house that you're cooking breakfast every day with the same people, you get to a point where you're just very relaxed. And so I love that about Haven, and everybody's really great here.
We kind of became a family in some way. We had Christmas all together. I mean, we really bonded all together, which is amazing. I don't know, it's great being in Lebanon.
We're really tired of this cold barrier between artists, between people in general. This is what we really tried to have in Haven, and it just happened by mistake because people want this. And art is the expression of emotion, and it is such an intimate thing. So you cannot really be somewhere where you should express your art and have very rigid and, if you want, just a lack of personal connection to the people who are doing this with you. I think this is the most beautiful thing about it.
The next step is to create the bridge. It's to change misconceptions, to alter the misunderstandings through the arts. With the international residency program, it always came from one sentence that I constantly hear from both myself and the people that surround me. لو كنت برا كنت, I would have made it. If I was there, I would have made it. That to me is the most baffling sentence, because why can't you make it here? هون كله ضدي والدنيا كلها ضدي. Okay, I get that. So what is missing? That's Haven's job. But whether we like it or not, when we do escape to different countries, we still have our internal struggle. And that's what I want to kind of shed light on.
You see, for this Haven, I was asked to define inspiration in its simplest form. But the audacity that lingers above sly thoughts and bewildered submissions were stronger than my attempts to tempt her into my bed with solace. See, even if I were to speak objectively, I would still deny you something. As an Arab, if I were to speak objectively, I would still deny you something.
So this is why I believe art will be the greatest form of kind of breaking these boundaries and creating these bridges between cultures. And the best way for the West to stop assuming that all artists from the Middle East only do war, only paint about war, only film about war, only are of war, when they realize that just because we are the children of war doesn't mean we still carry the war within our womb. The war has left us. And we hope that even though the war physically is still here, we as artists have more than just the war that hurts us. Not just the general struggle that we all as a nation and as people and as a region face, but the internal individualistic struggle that create us and make us persevere regardless of war. I would rather see a painting that made a woman survive the war than a painting about the war. And hopefully, with Haven, we'll be able to afford people and give people the accessibility and the feasibility to create the future of their needs and their desires, rather than them have to conform to whatever future that was given to them.